maybe some rain, and then Friday a rainy, cold, nasty day, and you get the idea. By the time it gets to 4:20, which would be Saturday, actually might get some sunshine, but kind of chilly. All right, man. What's your name?
Bob Wilkie.
And what's your name, sir?
Hey, I'm Cole Klein. I own Hope Public Adjusters, and I appreciate you having us on to talk a little bit about the insurance wars that we're battling and the situation Bob's had to go through to kind of go from good hands to boxing gloves.
Bob is, you guys know him. Bob's been calling the show and been part of WJOB's larger family for a long time. Bob, you had an unfortunate incident. What was it, November?
Back in November 2nd.
Yeah, what happened?
Early morning of November 2nd, the garage caught fire and burned a complete garage down, total loss. And we had a lot of smoke damage in the house. So we filed an insurance claim. The insurance put us up at the Residence Inn. And up until March, everything was looking good. We stayed there. The insurance was paying everything. Then all of a sudden, the insurance decided to stop paying. And we had to pay everything out of our own pockets.
All right, where are you living now?
Right now, we're living in a rental house at 7250.
Well, you don't need to give me the address. But
We're
yeah,
living in Southeastern. On Southeastern.
All right, well, now you just gave the whole address. So around the corner.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my Uncle Charlie and Judy Pizzatic lived right around the corner at 72. They lived in the apartment building on this side of the street.
Yeah, right across the street.
Yeah, right
from
across the street, yeah.
Yeah.
They lived up on the top floor. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 floors, probably 2. And they had a back entrance to that. And I remember I'd love going to their house because I'd walk over to the Y.
Oh, yeah.
It's you guys are very close to the Y.
Yeah.
So you're in a rental house now. So how bad's your garage?
The garage has been totally taken down to the ground. It's no longer there.
But you can't get into the house to live?
No.
Why
Still
not?
Too much smoke damage.
They had a unique situation of where they had their fire, and when the polar vortex came through, they had that extreme cold weather. Well, then they had another claim for a busted pipe that the city had actually not shut their water off all of the way. So when the house was winterized, it ended up in another claim. So he actually has 2 claims going on with his insurance company currently, and it's kind of a situation with them not wanting to indemnify him or bring him back to pre-loss condition. So that's where my companies came in, and we're pushing for advocating on his behalf to try to get him taken care of and his whole family back into their house.
There's a couple of storylines here. One is Bob, and we followed Bob, and hey, Bob, what's going on? He calls me from the hotel once in a while or stops over or whatever. And it's tough because it's not just you. You got a wife and a grandkid and stuff, right?
Grandkids and my son and his wife too. Yes.
Yeah, his son and his wife, and so now you're in a house.
Yes.
You're able to find a rental. All right, so everybody at least has a place to stay, but you got to pay for that, right?
Right.
For now.
Exactly. Yes.
All right, so there's that like human side to this, and then there's the business side. And let's just do the business side. We'll do the human side another time because we have Cole Klein here. All right, Cole, your job is to advocate for people, right?
I am an insurance coverage expert. So what that means is a homeowner is most likely not going to know the ins and outs of their insurance policy, the coverages that go along with that. So a public adjuster, and a lot of people in Indiana especially don't know what a public adjuster is. We are state licensed adjusters, and we work on behalf of homeowners and business owners when they suffer a loss. So fire damage, water damage, storm damage, you name it. We can actually do pretty unique ones, aviation, so airplane damage. But we are the guys that come in, and we don't work for the insurance company. We work for the homeowners, so they have someone in their corner, fighting for them to make sure that they get indemnified.
All right, so break this down. So it's 2 different insurance companies. One would be, or is it the same insurance?
It's the same, yeah.
All right, same insurance company. Now, are we allowed to say the name, or should we just leave that out? It's up to Bob or whatever.
Yeah,
we'll leave it.
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so you're going after this insurance company, and they don't want to play the frozen pipe one, and they don't want to pay The entire amount, or where
the,
are we?
Yeah, the entire amount. So there's standards that are set. The IICRC S500 standards, which is for water mitigation. There's same S700 for fire mitigation. That outline exactly what you have to do. So since he had a pretty unique situation, if he had a fire that was a lot of it was smoke damage through his house. And so with that smoke damage, the fire will do a lot of damage that looks very bad. The smoke damage, that'll get into the cavities of your walls, your insulation, some of that damage you can't see. So then when he had his water damage, which mixed with all of the carcinogenic material from the soot and ash, well, now that water becomes Category 3 water, which is it has to do with the amount of bacteria. Basically everything in the house has to go, and the insurance company that Bob was working with is or that insuring him, that tells him that he's in good hands. Basically,
Well, you just said who it is.
yeah. Basically,
I'm going to wait till you say it, because I'm not saying it. You said it's in good hands, so you got to say it so that we can say it. But anyways.
but they're not wanting to meet the standards.
So they're not wanting to fully indemnify. That's the correct word, right?
Yep, that's
and,
the-
and it's you're going kind of deep into the terms a little bit, but that's okay. I like that because it's very specific. They're not fully indemnifying for the smoke, and they're not fully indemnifying for the water. So what does that mean for you, Bob?
It
I mean, you
means
don't have
that-
enough money to fix your house, or basically, is that what it is, or what?
Fix it correctly.
Right, the insurance wants me to just fall in line and play good boy. They want me to do what they want and get just paint, seal, and you're done. We'll give you the house back. And with coal there, we're saying no. There's a lot more damage to it that we need to get fixed. Because I've got a family that's got COPD and has asthma. I don't know if that ceiling that they're going to put on the wall and the paint, if the smoke is going to come back through the wall or not. I want the thing fixed the way it was before we had the fire. And the insurance company's fighting that, saying no. We just want to paint, seal it, and give it back to you.
All right, how'd you choose the insurance company?
That was, I've had the insurance company for
You said, go ahead.
okay,
and say it.
Allstate.
All right.
I've had the insurance company for a long time. When I had my car, my car's insured by Allstate also, so I put my house on it.
All right, so you were paying the premium.
Yes.
All right, is this common, Cole?
It is actually, yeah. It's very common. So our firm, we get hired on a lot of larger loss claims, fires, big water loss, stuff like that. But most of the time, there are good adjusters. There's some great adjusters, and I'm good friends with a lot of them. But there's also guys that have bad days, or it's human. But it's their job to come out and assess the damage and apply proper coverage. A lot of the times we're seeing that they're trying to mitigate the amount of they're for-profit companies, so the more they pay out, the less profit that their companies are making. Not saying they're out to get you, but the claims that they come into our office, most of the time they're taking that turn. So it is very prevalent that they'll try to settle a claim at 60% of what it actually should be.
We're talking to Cole Klein. He's a public adjuster, along with Bob Wilkie. You guys know him as Bob from Hessville. And I've been following his story, and it's kind of a sad story, but he's a pretty good dude and good family. And I'm so sorry that this is happening. You can't get in your house.
Exactly.
And so you guys are living in a rental. I mean, it's a nice neighborhood. You know, it's not a bad neighborhood right around the corner here. But, Bob, what do you want to happen here?
I want my house put back the way it was before we moved, before we had the fire, so we could live back there. If they don't want to do that, just pay it off, and we can find another place to go.
Is that an option, Cole?
For them to
So basically let them buy a new house somewhere? Or what
not necessarily. So legally, they have an obligation to back to the indemnification word, and what that means is actually to indemnify someone is to make them whole again, or bring them back to a pre-loss or pre-damaged state. So that's what they owe for. And that's what his policy covers for. It's what he's paying his premiums for. So there's different avenues and different levels of escalation that you can take the claim to. That's what we specialize in. So currently, we're in that process. We're in a higher escalation state of the claim.
So ultimately, the basic difference is what they're saying. Oh, this will get you back to the level you were, and you're like, no, it won't. I mean, it's still a problem. So,
Exactly,
So
yes.
there's this gap where they only want to pay to a certain area. Allstate does, and then here's where you and Bob working together are saying, well, what are you talking about? The house had this damage and that damage. Just get us back up here and replace all this insulation and all that stuff and give them new ceiling or whatever. And they don't want to pay for that part. So there's a gap here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we call it delay, deny, defend is the tactics that are used to help mitigate the cost on insurance claims that carriers use.
Explain delay, deny, defend.
So delaying would be basically delaying the process on making a statement on coverage. Or saying, hey, we're reviewing this for an extended period of time, which your policy limit gives you certain deadlines to meet. You have 2 years to file suit. You have 60 days to turn in a proof of loss. There's time limits on everything. Defending would be defending their position, their coverage position, saying, hey, we don't know for this. This is why we don't know for it. So then we'll send in legitimate and reasonable documentation to get their decisions overturned and disprove their reasoning. Then it's back to, hey, we're delaying this process by reviewing this for longer and longer and longer. Then it puts them into a situation where they can't get their house repaired or fixed, and then they're defending in the same process. They're defending their coverage position in that. So then it's the way that we get those overturned is by legitimate and reasonable documentation, having experts come in doing soot testing.
What a hassle.
Yep.
I'm sorry, what a hassle. We're a little behind here. We got time for one phone call. We're not going to be able to take the other ones. Evidently, people want to talk to you, Bob, and comment on this. But let's go to George on line 599. George, what's up?
Yeah, I still don't know what is the actual basis on which they're either restricting or limiting coverage. Is it a contractual limitation on the amount that they're going to cover? Is it a legal thing, causation? What is the exact reasons or precise concepts or whatever that they're invoking as to why they're, is this a bad faith situation? I'm not clear on anything. I know Bob's going through an ordeal, but, I'm not getting any information here. Mm-hmm. What's actually going on? Why are they denying it? Can you nail it down for us?
Mm-hmm. So as a public adjuster, bad faith is a legal term that we try to stay away from. But
how can you stay away from it when the guy's deferring, defending, and denying?
Mm-hmm.
How can you?
Yeah, so absolutely that would be the case here. We've sent over documentation that's back to the IICRC S500 standards for water mitigation, and back to
but what does the contract say? Do you have any? Can you enlighten us as to what Bob's contract reads?
So coverage has been applied. They are covering the loss. It's not an issue with coverage. It's an issue with the amount of loss that they're willing to pay for.
Okay, do the damages exceed his limits on the contract?
They do not. Nope.
Oh, okay. Then,
yep.
So
the next step, the next step would be appraisal, which is what we're currently in, which is the higher level resolution. Basically, the insurance company says, hey, we owe for this amount of loss for these damages. Our estimate is for these damages and this amount of loss. Since there's a dispute on the amount of loss, we've invoked what's called appraisal.
I know what an appraisal is.
Yeah,
so
it's
a lawyer on your team?
George, thanks for the phone call. I'm up against the clock. You know that. So it's a dispute over the amount.
Yep.
All right, we're going to follow this story. We'll keep it in line. We'll keep Cole's card here. And on the next development, we'll have Bob in here to let us know where this is going. And, Bob, we're all sorry you got to go through this, my friend.
I appreciate it, Jed.
All right, Cole, thanks for driving up today.
No problem.
And that'll finish it for me. Munster Chamber of Commerce up next here on the Voice and Face of the Region.
Get ready for spring at the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event at Napleton